Summer is coming. The next heat wave is just around the corner, and that's why today I want to share with you 3 traditional Chinese food hacks that will actually help you feel cooler on a hot summer day. Sounds weird? Yes indeed. Let me explain. Here's the thing, aside from being delicious, there's another reason why people in China are eating watermelon during the summer. In traditional Chinese thinking, the lines between food and medicine are somewhat blurred. For example, every food item can be classified as either hot, warm, neutral, cool, or cold. And we're not talking temperature or spiciness here. No. This type of hot and cold is a concept from traditional Chinese medicine. The idea is that by controlling how much hot and cold food you're taking in, you're helping to balance your inner yin and yang, which in turn helps to bring your inner energy, your qi, in order. When I lived in Shanghai, we had this one crazy hot week. I'm talking 40+ degrees Celsius every day. And my Chinese friend sort of talked me into trying some of these cooling foods, and I did. And you know what? It totally worked. I definitely felt less hot after I ate those. At least I think so. The tricky part is that you never know which foods are considered hot and which ones are considered cold. This watermelon, for example, just like a cucumber, is considered cold. But so is shrimp and crab. Crab is super cold actually. And on the hot side you will find things like chili and ginger, which so far makes a lot of sense to me. But then why are things like avocado or lychee also considered hot? So the easiest cooling recipe I can share with you is a tea. It's super simple, just add chrysanthemum flowers and goji berries to a teapot, add a bit of rock sugar if you like, that's optional, and brew this for 10 minutes. Even without the sugar, it has a very mild and sweet taste, and not only is this great on a hot day, it will also help you feel lighter after a big meal. Next up is Lü Dou Tang, or let's call this mung bean porridge in English. I'm sure you've had mung bean sprouts before, they're very popular, and this is what they grow out of. But we can also rinse these beans really well, then put them in a pot with a bit of water, let the beans fully absorb that on high heat, and now we add the full amount of water. That's 10 parts water to 1 part beans. Add a dash of vinegar. You won't actually taste it, but it will keep the color nice and green. And then again, I like to add some optional rock sugar. And that's it. Bring this up to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and then let your beans cook for at least 20 minutes or until they have fully softened and some of them have split open. I would definitely recommend letting this cool down to room temperature, that's how I have always had it, or even putting it in the fridge for a little bit, so it's a little bit cooler. The flavor of this Lü Dou Tang is very mild. It's quite pleasant and probably the most effective of these recipes when it comes to alleviating heat. Now let's move from the most effective to the most delicious of today's recipes. And that would be Suan Mei Tang, which loosely translates to sour plum drink. This is hands down my favorite cold beverage of all time. That's the good news. The bad news being that you need a whole freak show of ingredients to pull this one off. Okay, let's start with the rarest ingredient, smoked plums. Not easy to find at all, but you can, fortunately, kind of sub them for other dried fruits like regular plums or apricots. Next we will need some dried hawthorne, dried orange peel, and dried licorice root. These 3 are actually much easier to find and they will last you for ages if stored properly. Give those guys a very thorough wash to get rid of impurities, and now the recipe also calls for hibiscus flower. Now I couldn't find that, but there is a natural tea very popular in Germany that contains hibiscus, so problem solved. At this stage we're ready to soak our ingredients at room temperature for about half an hour, after which we're adding them to a pot with a pinch of salt and lots of additional water, bringing everything up to a boil, reducing it back to a simmer and letting that sit for 45 minutes. Now we can add rock sugar. Try using this golden yellow variety from the Chinese supermarket if you can, it has a very nice and mild aftertaste. Our final and kind of optional ingredients will be dried osmanthus flowers and some dried mint. I'm adding these guys at the end of this recipe so they add a gentle touch of fresh aroma rather than just getting lost in the big mix. After another 10 to 15 minutes of simmering, you can strain off the liquid, fill it in a bottle, et voila! Straight from the fridge and with a few ice cubes, 4 out of 5 Chinese doctors and Andong will recommend Suan Mei Tang on a hot summer day. So the next time the weather forecast shows a full week of sunshine and all your friends are melting away and suffering, you will know what to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
This video was brought to you by Andong's epic Patreon supporters. Don't forget to subscribe and smash the bell for weekly food inspiration from all over the world.